All right, ladies and excuse me. This is going to be YieldMax Group C distribution announcement for the month. We see CONY has a yield of 135.69%, ULTI 101.39%, Fiat 100%, 100.77%, YieldMax 43.77%, and YMAX 55.08%. And we have some others to go through in this Group C. All right, so our EX date and record date would be November the 11th, which will be tomorrow. Today is Wednesday, tomorrow, yes. Our payment day would be the 15th, which will be Friday. Now, if some of you are wondering when or wanting to get in and obtain a position in some of Group C, um, the EX date is tomorrow, and that means the stock will drop by the price of the distribution. For example, we see if there was a $20 ETF and it paid out $1, the price will likely drop to $19. Now that depends. If there's a lot of buying pressure on the EX date, it might not even come down that far. It may come down just a little bit. And also, um, if it could come down $1, and if there's some catalyst in the market that will cause the overall stock market or the underlying stock to go down, you could see it drop further than $1. So that's a good entry to get in on these positions on the EX date if you're looking for an entry to start, especially if these are running up, but you desperately want to get in, then that would be a day I would consider getting in on the EX date or any date that's having a pullback or red day that's below your dollar cost average. So the first one on our list we have here is CONY. As I stated, CONY has a 135.69% yield for the month, and they're paying out a whopping $2.02. $2.02. That is very good because they ran up this last week. I was expecting maybe like $1.25, but this right here was way beyond my expectations. So we see here if you have 50 shares, you would get a $100 and $101.16. If you had 500 shares, you would get $1,011.55. If you had 2,000 shares, you would get $4,046.20. Now, I did something a little different this time. I displayed the number of shares that I have. You see there in black. So I have 2,700 shares of CONY as of right now, this date. I was intending to sell off today. I was going to sell probably about 600 shares and take some of that 10 to 11K in profit that I had. But when I saw the amount that they're paying out, I'm going to hold surf and maybe consider buying some on Friday or Monday, so to speak. Monday would be the earliest I think I could get it because the way Robinhood pays out the distribution, you won't get it like 7 or 8 o'clock that night on Friday. But anyway, so I have 2,700 shares. I will be getting paid $5,462.37 on Friday evening. That is a nice distribution amount. Wow. So 5,000, you see that you would get $10,115.50 if you had owned 5,000 shares. Next on the list, we have Fiat. Fiat is paying out 72 basically 73 cents for 100.77% yield. I'm gonna get it right here, people. Keep it real, keep it raw, as King Gray say. All right, so at if you had 50 shares of this at 73 cents, you'll get $36.29. If you had 1,000 shares, you would get $725.80. If you had 10,000 shares of fiat, you would get $7,258. Next on the list, we have ULTI. ULTI paid out 101.39% yield for the month of 83 cents for 83 cents. So I do own some ULTI. I have 45 shares. You can see it highlighted there in the red. So come Friday, I will get paid $37.41. So if you had 1,000 shares of ULTI, you would get $831.30. If you had 10,000, that would be $8,313. All right, moving on. Next on the list, we have AMD for 83.35% yield for the month for 41 cents. So if you had 100 shares, that would be $81.40. If you had 1,000 shares, that would be $814. And if you had 10,000 shares of AMD, that would be $8,140. Next on the list, we've got PP or PPs. I say it. All right, so they had a yield of 40.35% for the month for a payout of 59 cent. 59 cent. All right. So if you got 50 shares, that would be $29.40. If you had 500 shares, that would be $294. If you had 5,000 shares, that would be $2,940. 58 cents. That's good for some. I think they paid out a little bit more than that. Maybe I think it was $1 last month. But that's pretty good. All right, Misfold. Microsoft, I believe this is. All right, so they had a yield of 34.27% for the month for a payout of 51 cents. So if you had 100 shares of this, you would get paid $50.97. If you had 1,000 shares, that would be $509.70. And if you had 10,000 shares, that would be $5,097.50. That is good by most standards, but we want that high yield. All right, so Netflix here has a has a yield of 54.56% for the month for a payout of 78 cents. So if you had 50 shares of this, that would be $39.22. 500 shares, that would be $392.15. 5,000 shares, that would be $3,921.50. Next, we have ABNY for a monthly yield of 68.18% for 60, excuse me, why am I saying 60? That's that dyslexia kicking in, people. For 83, see? For 86 cents. Sorry, fellas. Sorry, guys. Sorry, ladies. All right, so if you had 100 shares of this, that would be 86.32. If you had 1,000 shares, that would be 863.20. And if you had 10,000 shares, that would be $8,632. 86 cents is pretty good. All right, getting close to the end here. YMAX monthly yield is 43.77% for 15 cents. All right, so I do have 2.38 shares. We have got to get that up. At 15 cents, that would be 36 cents. If you had 500 shares, that'd be $76.15. If you had 5,000 shares, that'd be $761.50. As YMAX is week. I got monthly. I'm sorry, people. That is a weekly paying ETF. I hadn't updated that but that is weekly. I'm sorry. Same thing here about YMAX. This is a weekly distribution. So you get paid every Friday with this. So their yield is 55.08 for 21 cent. So if you had 100 shares of this, that would be 2104. 1,000 shares would be 210.40, and 10,000 shares would be 2104.0 dollars for the month. And these are weekly. All right. All right, so this is concluding Group C, CONY, Fiat, ULTI, YMAX, and YMAX. So